Hi friends, Max Elaj here. On this episode of the Corpus Animus podcast, we have training think tank athlete Noah Ohlsen on the podcast. And I ask him about Matt Fraser retiring, Ricky Garard making a comeback, PEDs in CrossFit, last year's CrossFit Games, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Before we get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we're on our road to 35K subscribers. And when we hit that milestone, we're going to give away a Black Zinc Rogue 2.0 barbell. Leave a comment below if you think Noah should keep his dreadlocks or take it down with a straight razor. That comment is what's going to enter you into the giveaway. Once we reach that 35,000 subscriber milestone, we'll use a random YouTube comment generator on one of these videos where we promoted the giveaway to draw a worldwide winner for that bar. So all you got to do is be subscribed and comment below to enter. Train along some of the best athletes in the world at the sport of CrossFit. To get a free sample week of our current training cycle, head over to trainingthinktank.com/DSGN.
I had a dream last night and there was a baby in it. And it was either Liam or, wow, I'm so sorry right now. I cannot think of Kinsley's little brother's name.
Levi.
So either Brandon or Mike's kid.
Right. And we were swimming in this huge swimming pool. And I was like helping him stay afloat. That's all I really remember.
Was the
he was drowning or you were like teaching him to swim?
I think more along the lines of teaching him to swim. And then it was honestly in this huge swimming complex, and Guillermo from Brazil was there, and he had this rig set up where it was like a cable that he would go way under the water and then get pulled way out of the water holding this cable. And I tried it a couple times. It was really fun.
This was an actual dream?
Yeah.
You actually did have this last night?
Promise.
Cool. What else has been going on, man? You've been up here for how many days?
It is officially a week at this point. I arrived last Monday, a little bit later in the evening, got in a quick session, and then had
on YouTube
a few, episode of arriving in Alpharetta is up on YouTube. My man Joe is helping me out with all the YouTube stuff while I'm up here. I'm going to convince him to move to Miami as well when we're done here, which who knows when that's going to be. But yeah, that's the plan, is to be here from now all the way through May at a minimum. We'll see what happens from that point. But that will provide me with the opportunity to do the Open, which is the next 3 weeks. We just finished week 1.
How'd it go?
Yeah, I'll get into that in a minute. Had to do it. Had to / got to do it twice. Little reframe there.
Hold on. You didn't reframe. You did both. You said had to and got to.
Right. Well,
so you don't get to count that as a little reframe. You don't reframe.
Isn't had to and got to the same thing?
Well, had to is a way of looking at it like it's an obligation. Okay. Got to is like it's an opportunity.
Oh, okay, got it.
And so if I looked at it as like, man, I have to redo this workout, I think there would be a negative connotation to it. So reframing it from the perspective of I got to redo the workout, got to have a chance to get a better score, which is the case. I was excited for that, but I don't think I would have taken that opportunity unless I had to. And I had to because there was a slight mishap on the hand standard, which I think a lot of people out there are probably going to experience and potentially have to redo as well.
Yeah, Sean Sweeney posted a video, and then basically every high score that I've seen a lot of that.
Yeah.
It's basically your foot is traveling up, the hand goes back, and then the foot hits the wall.
Yeah. I think it was tough and like hopefully forgivable from the general public, because literally for many of us, for me, even more so, I didn't watch the Open announcement in the evening. I like to just go to bed without knowing what the workout is. I'll watch it in the morning. So I literally had 3 hours to process the standard, practice it a couple times, and then go full speed on the workout. Yeah. So I'm maybe asking for a little bit of forgiveness and leeway there. Yeah. I did redo it. I'm not saying let my first score
you should have
count.
just paid some money and done the judges course. Then you would have known what a good rep was.
I was contemplating whether I should be aggressive about the fact that we, like, all of that burden lies on coaches and athletes. We're supposed to take this judges course, and then they're like, oh, by the way, new movement.
Was that not in the judges course?
No,
that was my sarcasm joke.
Yeah. So it's kind of shitty that it's like, judging already is such a difficult thing, especially watching elite athletes go. and then people looking at it on YouTube. I'm like, if you've never seen somebody like you moving at full speed, it's not like judging a 45-year-old recreational in-class CrossFitter trying to meet standards.
It's happening quickly.
And by the time you even think no rep, somebody's already 2 reps past, and you're just trying to keep up with the count. So it becomes a really difficult thing for non-trained people. And really the only people that are trained to be CrossFit judges are the people that are paid at the games to do it, I think.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I don't really want to get into all that. But at a baseline, I did have to redo it and get to redo it. And I did better. I'm almost more.
A minute better, right?
Yeah. I think a little bit less than a minute, maybe 50 seconds better than last week or Monday. I'm almost more excited about the fact that I know that I nailed the standard every single rep. I just waited to feel that second foot touch the wall before I moved my hand at all. So I know I nailed the standards, and I was able to kind of keep my composure and finish that last set of double unders almost unbroken. And I finished in 11:41.
Did you trip or rest?
I tripped. Yeah, I could feel myself toward the end of that set of 210, just kind of like getting loosey-goosey. My arms were getting out to the sides. My feet were like going in different directions. I was like, come on, there's only like 20 left, please. But tripped, took a quick little breath and finished.
So what you were trying to say is your shoulders were fried, didn't think you'd survive, so you were breaking the dupes.
That's
like
exactly
that.
what it was saying.
Is that a song? Now
Red Hot Chili Peppers, Breaking the Girl.
Oh, I like it.
Is it the end of it is breaking the girl?
I think that's the song, Breaking the Girl. And
What's
I just
that
switched
mean?
it to Breaking the Dubs. I don't know. Seems a little sketch.
Yeah.
Also, don't want to get into that. So we're going to keep this one very PG.
Mr.
Podcast
PG's
number 1.
the first.
We'll get a little deeper later in the season. But back to the season structure. So I'll be here for 21.1, 0.2, 0.3. Then we have, I think, a week off before we start what is called the quarterfinals, which I will also do here. Then we have a couple of weeks-ish,
I think
maybe
it'll be
month almost.
It'll be more than that.
More than that? Okay.
Yeah. I think they're like late May to early June or when the semis are.
And those are considered the semifinals, which are the in-person events, hopefully. And so, yeah, I mean, my focus is definitely on peaking at the right time, which for me is the games. I've won the Open, I've won regionals, I've won sanctioned events. I don't really, not that I don't care about any of that stuff, but all I've yet to win is the CrossFit Games. So I definitely want to accomplish that. Along the way, if I can perform well enough to win some other stuff, but not have it be at the expense of being peaked at the games, that would be lovely. I think so far that time might be in first place.
Yeah,
right
it is.
now.
Well, there's a 908 on the leaderboard. I checked, but I watched the video. It's not right.
Yeah. So, which was kind of disappointing because for impact's sake, Joe was going to get a little clip of me refreshing the leaderboard and being like, yeah, I'm in first. And we refreshed it and I was like, oh, I'm in
I
second.
got beat by 2 minutes.
Oh, wait, that's not real. So it was like, womp, womp. But yeah, that's the outline of the season. I think beyond this May period of time of being here, we're kind of undecided on whether I will move back to Miami. At that point, Joanne will have finished PT school.
When is her actual finish?
She finishes at the end of April.
Okay.
So by May, she's done with school, technically. I think they have an online graduation mid-May, which...
what is an online graduation?
Yeah, I don't know. They're a little bit bummed out, her classmates, that they don't get to do something in person. I think it's literally like a Zoom call where they call out your name and hold up a diploma and clap for you, which I can definitely empathize with that. That's a bit of a bummer that you've gone through 3 years of working really hard and you don't get to have like the official...
Like a celebration.
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll be able to celebrate in some way. But then she is taking her board exam actually most likely the day that we check in for the CrossFit Games, assuming hopefully that we make it. In between all that, though, from May to the end of July, I think we'll probably maybe move back to Miami, but frequently make trips back up here, whether it's 1 or 2 weeks at a time, just to prep for the semifinals, prep for the games. And yeah, that's the broad outline of this season. It's a very condensed season, which we're not really used to, but I kind of like so far, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to open up a lot of off-season stuff. I've already heard about some stuff happening in October. I mean, I guess it's all COVID dependent, but could be like the old game season where it's kind of like February, March-ish to August. And then if that's all you want to do, you can just do that. Yeah. And you can take a whole off-season to just chill and get healthy.
Get chunky.
Yeah. I do that in season too.
So disappointing.
How's your apartment? I actually saw your apartment.
Oh yeah, it's on the internet. Yeah. It's not my apartment. It's Harley's apartment. Thank you, Harley, for letting me stay here temporarily. Just worked out really well that another training think tank athlete, Harley, happened to be out of town. I think he's competing on a team up in New York. So he went up there. His apartment was wide open, more or less. There's a little backstory there. But anyway, I'm able to stay there. It's like 5 minutes away from the gym. Max, the dog, is staying with me, which
Max, the dog.
I got to specify. People might think that we're roommates. Yeah. But it's good because it's so close and he's not coming to the gym with me in between sessions. I'm running home, spending time with him. It's nice to have him too, because I'm definitely not used to living completely alone. Not only do I usually have Max with me at home, but I also have a companion in Joanne. And so when I'm alone now without Joanne, I still have Max, which makes it feel less lonely. I could imagine if it was just me and no one else, it would be just strange. I'm not used to it.
Yeah.
Watch it, man. It's an A-B conversation. See your way out of it.
Too late.
Just kidding. That's Chris. Hi, Chris.
Do you notice any difference with the temperature? It's kind of cold.
Oh, it's much cooler, which is really nice. I like the cool. I at times get overwhelmed by the heat in Miami. It's just so hot and humid down there during certain periods of the year. Right now is actually kind of nice down in Miami. And like from October to March, the weather is great in Miami because the weather is a little cooler. It's less humid. It's still bright and sunny. But actually for today's workout, I woke up and it was, I think, 58 while I was taking Max for a walk in the morning and windy. And so when we were in here doing this, there was almost never a point in time where I was sweating so much that I was sliding on the mat or the rope was coming out of my hands. But even now in Miami, I would have been soaked with sweat, which just takes time away from your performance. You have to wipe it off. You have to chalk up.
Yeah.
So
we've talked about that before. And like, chalk breaks can become almost ingrained in habit because they're you need them there.
Right. Like you don't need them, but you think you need them, right?
Well, you need them in Miami.
Need them in Miami, but yes, exactly.
But then when you get to a competition, you don't need them, but you've almost trained yourself to do it because you're in an environment where you're basically like a pool.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if you're used to in Miami, as you're transitioning to the rings or the pull-up bar, putting chalk on because you're so sweaty and I'm here and I'm not sweating, but I'm doing that transition. I'm reaching for the chalk, even if I don't really need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
You've been training with Jorge Masvidal a little bit, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. I beat him up once or twice.
Nice.
Yeah, he happens to train next door to us. We've kind of always...
That's a UFC fighter for everybody who doesn't know.
Yep. I think he holds the current record for the fastest knockout. He had this awesome flying knee.
Flew and kneed Ben Askren in the face.
Yeah. Jake Paul is about to fight Ben Askren. That could be interesting.
Boxing, right?
Yeah.
Not a fight.
Right. Yeah. Just some pop culture stuff.
Yeah.
Jake Paul actually lives in Miami now as well. I think it's like end of April.
Oh, okay.
I got to meet him. Not that that's like this amazing thing.
I still don't know. I know he's a YouTube guy, but what is that all he is a YouTube guy?
He's actually a pretty, from what I've seen, I don't know much about boxing, but he's a pretty impressive looking boxer. Like he's very powerful. He's very athletic. He seems like he's training a lot.
Well, I mean, is YouTube his only claim to fame? Was he something?
No, I think originally, he got famous on YouTube, TikTok. He's just like a social media guy. He and his brother both blew up in that regard. But now he's getting into the fighting world and he moved down to Miami to fight and he was coming to meet Masvidal. Masvidal's gym is basically side by side, shares a wall with Peak where I train in Miami. So Jorge and I have trained together a few times, did some bridge sprints together. The first time I think we ever trained together. I had quick story on that. I had finished like one of the heftiest training days I'd had in a long time. I did like a 2-hour beach run swim thing. We went mountain biking for an hour and then I had an in the gym session. I was walking home because my house is around the corner from the gym and I saw Masvidal and his trainer going basically at the same time to the right instead of to the left of where I live to this bridge. It's like a pedestrian bridge, and they were doing sprints. And I started branching left, and there was just something that clicked in me, and I was like, you know what? I think it would earn his respect if I just jumped in with him on these. So I turned around and I did these like 15 bridge sprints on a whim. And ever since then, he like came to my house. We did a session together during COVID. Got tested, wore masks and all that, just for you guys out there. But then we've done a couple sessions outside. He wants to get stronger, and he actually really likes CrossFit. He said he'd like to compete in it when he's done fighting.
I hope we need someone like him. Talk some shit.
Is that gym that's next door? It's actually set up like an MMA gym, or it's a strength and conditioning gym that he uses?
A little bit of everything. I think they definitely have an MMA corner, mats and all that stuff, but then they have a bunch of people that do like personal training. There's a baseball hitting thing in the corner. They are kind enough to let me use, they have a permanent ice bath in there, which I want to talk to you about that. Let's see if we get enough comments and likes on this video. Maybe we can add an ice bath to Training Think Tank. I was thinking yesterday, Travis loves to buy equipment. So if we can convince him that it's good for him.
I would love that.
Yeah. We should.
That's very smart.
We've actually talked about it, but I think we need to figure out where it would go. Can they be outside?
I don't know.
Kyle Ruth built one.
Yeah.
He built one from
with
like
his bare hands.
Freezer.
Yeah. With his bare as in naked.
Like bear.
Yeah. That kind.
Both.
Naked hands.
What else?
I had
you guys
another
wanna
question.
talk about?
Jake Paul.
Yeah.
What was his like? Was he like a funny social media person, like comedian-esque, or
is he like the Kim
I don't
Kardashian
know.
of YouTube? Like, was he good at anything else before he did a channel, or is he only famous because he's famous? I guess is my question.
I
Not to
think
discredit
it's-
him. I'm just asking.
Yeah,
'cause I don't know
no,
who
again,
he
not
is.
to discredit him for sure. It takes a ton of work to get famous in that way.
Yeah.
Like they spent every day in front of a camera editing videos. I'm sure it all started slow. And at this point now, he's got that base of fans and followers. Yeah, I don't know. He was a nice enough guy. So a funny story on that. So he was coming to train with Masvidal. It was like 8 p.m. It was actually when Jake Berman was visiting a month ago. And I was leaving Peak. I didn't have my shirt on because I had just finished training. And this black SUV drives up and they saw me and they turned into the Peak parking lot. I think thinking like, oh, this is a gym. This is where we're meeting George. And like 12 guys get out of this SUV, big jacked dudes. And Jake Paul was one of them. And I kind of like said hello to all of them, greeted them. And they started walking towards the gym. And I was like, I think you guys are looking for George, which is next door. But they still were like looking into Peak because it's a cool facility, right? We've got like all of the equipment. It's big, it's bright. And so they wanted to come in and check it out. They walked inside. I said, you guys are welcome to come train here whenever you want. That'd be awesome. And Guido was on his way out. Guido said hello to all of them, like high-fived them and left. And I called Guido later. I was like, you have no idea who any of those guys were, do you? And he's like, no, who were they? And I said, that was Jake Paul and his crew. And he's like, don't know what that means. But anyway, Miami is an interesting place in that regard.
Yeah.
Where there's a lot of talent in like an athletic respect. And I feel like rarely do people actually collaborate on that. We were trying to, at the end there, kind of get people coordinated, myself, George, Steph Cohen and her boyfriend Hayden, or fiance, I should say now. But I feel like all those high level athletes, if we got together and trained, like sometimes it doesn't make sense because we're training such different things, but to have a bunch of high level people, I think it elevates the environment. You know, people are inspired by greatness. And obviously from like a social media branding perspective, that collaboration is helpful too. So.
I think you also learn from like every specialist in a singular discipline has something to teach to somebody else in a different discipline.
For sure.
Even if it's just like approach, warm-ups, cool downs, way of thinking, doesn't necessarily correlate to making you great at your thing, but you could like pick up little things.
Absolutely. To like speak on that, Hayden he deadlifts like, I don't know, a bajillion pounds.
Yeah.
And we were doing a deadlift triple, just he and I one session. And he taught me a couple of things that were actually helpful in being able to pull off the ground and really recruit my hamstrings versus being more quad dominant. So in that respect.
Man, that dude knows how to pick them. When I first met him, he was dating a D from WAG.
Yeah.
And then now it's like he knows how to pick the ladies to go on and make the badass
Successful women for sure.
How do you feel about Matt retiring?
Mixed emotions. I feel like I've wrapped my head around it at this point. When it was first announced, it was a bit shocking is not the word, but it was big. It was big news for our sport, for me being one of his main competitors.
Yeah.
So I think at first it was, man, this is a big opportunity for me, to be honest and transparent. I think that was my first thought was, all right, the throne is wide open for the taking. Like, let's really dig in and make it happen. And then second was kind of a bummer that I'm not able to accomplish the goal of being the fittest man on earth while somebody that is considered one of the fittest men in history is competing against me.
It would have been nice to dethrone him.
Yeah, I think that there would have been just that little extra moment, but you can say that for every sport in every era. You know, there's always somebody great that steps out and somebody else great comes in. So I would love to be that somebody great that comes in at this point. I'm happy for him. I totally understand it. There's been periods of time where I've yearned for that life of not having to do this every single day, but those are like very, very brief moments. For the most part, I love what I get to do, and I'm not ready to be done doing it at all yet. But eventually I could see the desire to live a quote unquote normal life overtaking the desire to continue to win if you've already accomplished that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and every athlete has a life cycle, you know, when it ends is kind of up to each person.
For sure.
Most of the time, but
yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm happy for him that he was able to end it on his own accord, you know, and step out when he felt like it was right. I give him props. He's elevated the field for the last 7 years. I don't think that I would have pushed myself as hard as I did if it weren't for him. I think there's the possibility that if he weren't in the mix, who knows, maybe I could have won it 1 or 2 times in there, but I don't think that I would have had to work as hard. Although I will say, and this is kind of being vulnerable again, these are things that I think athletes are not supposed to share, but I don't mind. There were times throughout the last 4 or 5 seasons when it was discouraging knowing that I had to go up against him. Most of the time it was inspiring and I was like, all right, I got to really work hard if I want to beat this guy. But there were times where I thought, no matter how hard I work, I don't know if I'm going to beat him. So I don't even know if I want to get in there and work that hard.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad that element is removed from it. There is no barrier anymore. You know, there's nobody in the way. It's like, get in there and work hard because no matter what, you can win now.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I definitely had those same feelings as a coach because I used him as a model. Like anytime there was scores posted, regionals, open games, I'm like, we're collecting that data and being like, all right, well, this is what Noah needs to be able to do. So like the training needs to be biased to push these things up to that level. So he was the standard.
Right.
But without the standard there, it's like, all right, well, what's the standard now?
We can
show up healthy, keep pushing,
Yeah.
try to set it. It's almost changed the game in terms of how to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
Yeah, but I'm excited. I think this is going to be a great season. 21 is my favorite number of all time. Just coincidence. Yeah, that was my like lacrosse number growing up and stuff. So
was there a famous athlete who wears, Derek Jeter was a
my
2,
dad,
right?
My dad used to always wear 21. He played college lacrosse. He was a 2-time All-American at Brown.
Nice.
So yeah.
Hakeem Warwick.
There you go.
I have no idea who that
He was
is.
just a Memphis Grizzlies player for a few seasons that no one would have ever heard of.
He's on the bench.
Ricky Martin.
He wasn't on the bench, but
Yeah.
All right, man.
how's training been different this year? Same old stuff? Something new?
How has training been different? I would say it is very different from last season, 2020, but not much different from the seasons before 2020, if that makes sense. Because the 2020 season, a majority of the time was spent in my driveway, training alone, not really getting into the gym much, just way different circumstances, especially like outside of the gym circumstances were so different and heavy and emotional. And this year it feels like life is a little bit more normal. I am back in the gym. I was training at Peak with an awesome group of people. Now I'm up here training with an awesome group of people. So different in the sense that I feel more dialed in. I feel more inspired. I feel healthy. I feel like the timeline is also very different. Last season, we were jumping all over the place, peaking at different times, not knowing when to peak. Right now, we have a very specific timeline. And so I feel like we're going to be able to manage energy and body health a lot better, which I'm excited about. And I feel really great right now, knock on wood.
Yeah. We went for a couple months where I didn't really write anything individual for you. You did literally the full design.
The last few months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you notice anything? I mean, we talk, but
not really, man.
Just like,
not to discredit you at all, but I feel like if I'm on a pretty well-written training program, which obviously is not discrediting you because you were part of writing this one, but if I'm on a group design,
design.
So if I'm on the design and it's a group program versus just doing it individually, if I'm on something that's well-written, I can, and if I'm consistently training hard, I feel like 3 weeks of really consistently training, I feel super fit. And the design is cool as well because there's now this added element of a leaderboard, which when you're writing individual programming, you don't have. I have nobody to compare my scores to unless you happen to write the same workout for Travis and I on that day. Now there's like 5 or 6 other guys. Every single workout that I'm looking at the leaderboard, I'm like, man, Dylan Pettit got me here. Sam Stewart got me here. Travis got me here. Jake got me here. Kyle got me here. So it's discouraging at times, but also again, back to the Fraser thing, it's inspiring because I know I need to push harder if I want to win more often.
Yeah. We haven't really talked about this yet because I haven't really went into that much planning for it, but how much of that do you think as we transition past stage 2 for assuming we go through stage 2, how much are you going to want to focus on individual prioritization versus just have time to be on a well-rounded structure to throw down with people?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that the only reason that we would need to divert from the group design would be if there was something specific that we know, hey, you need to focus on this in order to close that hole and be the best. And that's not really a priority in the design right now. So we're going to take out this piece from the design and add in this piece for you. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But if the design falls in line with what I need to work on, then I don't mind. I think that people would probably judge us. There's somebody out there that's going to be like, oh, that's stupid. You're not training optimally because it's not tailored towards you. But
yeah, I mean, I've seen
frick off. We're doing all right. You know?
Yeah, for sure. And there's also a lot of people that are in the sport that are showing that model works. Now, some of those group programs might just be written specifically for one athlete and everyone else follows it.
Right.
But there's definitely something to community being able to push you.
Yeah.
And that you're already really good at everything. Mm-hmm. You don't have these huge gaps that need to be filled in where you need individual structure for.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely stuff that I need to work on, right? Like I actually hate to admit this to you because I'm scared that you'll change the way it's been going. But there were times in the last couple of months where I thought, man, I haven't done a lot of like high power biking and rowing. And that stuff makes me a little nervous. So I'm kind of glad that I haven't been doing it, but I know that I need to work on it. So maybe it's coming.
Yeah. I actually thought about, this might be a vulnerability thing. Chris, you could chop this out.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. You were, you feel like you almost got burnt out last season. I feel like not from overtraining. It's just from like, okay, this is the game's date. All right, let's start a build up. Okay. The games just got postponed. All right. Take some time off. And you went up and down and up and down. And we tried to do that for 4 months or something like that. And by the time the end of the season came and after watching you at the games, I was like, this man just needs a break. Like he's been, I've watched it so much training for so long. And I feel like this off season was so good for you. You started the season like in training and some of your results were like really gapped relative to Travis who didn't get to go to the games. And I was like, all right, well, it's like so early. He just, he needed that. And it seems like now you're kind of on the uptrend and like now you actually have time and energy to be able to push into those things. Yeah.
I think that is always a little scary and it takes some justification in your mind. So I did jump back into training and there were workouts where I was like, I didn't feel that great. And then looking at the leaderboard was 2 minutes behind and my subconscious panicked and was like, dude, oh yikes, you lost it. But then the logical part of my brain thought, man, you're 6 months out from the games. Relax. do a slow build. I loved that the first training phase of the year was called Turning Pro, and kind of gave you that like patient time to just get back into the swing of things.
Do you feel like you're there now?
I think so. Yeah. I feel fit. I feel healthy. I don't feel like overwhelmed. I think that there is a good balance right now of like doing the open workouts, semi-prioritizing them because we want to get good scores, but also for me, at least, the purpose of coming up here was to train hard. And so I wrote in my journal this morning, crush 21.1, but then really get after it in the regular training because that is the reason that you're here.
Yeah.
So I think if we can balance that, manage it well throughout the season, hopefully it's the best one yet.
Have we talked with you since the games? Did we do anything? I don't think we have, did we?
No.
Well, like now sitting here now, how do you reflect on last year's games?
Kind of bittersweet. Definitely not like fully satisfied. And it's crazy because it was seconds away from being a totally different conversation, right? If somehow I had managed to have this awesome comeback victory on that last event and I finished first in Atlanta and it got me third overall, I think it would have been like this thing to celebrate. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And I've tried to really let go of that because there was maybe a month after the games where every night I was laying in bed like, dude, like, why didn't you make that happen? Couldn't you have just run a little faster? And then I was just like, no, I could not have. So stop thinking about that. It's done. It's gone. Move on. So backing up, proud of the fact that during a difficult season, I made it out to that top 5. I think that's something that I'll remember forever. Hopefully CrossFit fans and the legacy books will remember that I was a part of that forever. But the fact that I went out there in a pool of 5 and
speak on that whole
fourth,
different format for how was that? I mean, there was no crowd. You're a crowd guy.
It was 5 unideal
people.
For sure. I didn't love the experience of it. It was nice. Like some moments of it were cool and different. Like Max and I shared a room together. We shared moments together that we can't talk about on camera. Just kidding.
I had to shave his back.
That did happen.
You did put it on camera.
We did. But yeah, so some of that stuff was cool, but the fact that you were showing up every day and it was just like dead silent. You're in a trailer by yourself. You finish an event, you high five one person and that's it. I didn't love it. It wasn't exciting. It wasn't super memorable for me. But yeah, I think all in all, that kind of summarizes it for me. Like I'm proud of the fact that I was there and that's about it. And moving on, hopefully there's some more fun and exciting memories to come.
So you've been here for a week and I've watched a couple of your training sessions and then your open one and your repeat. Mm-hmm. And then just you being around Travis, it seems like, this is what, 4 years now you've been, how many years?
Yeah, just 4. About, yeah.
4 years. So, and I feel like there's a different energy with you and Trav now. Am I making that up? Or like y'all all been friendly, y'all been buds and y'all push each other, but it seems like there's like a brotherhood now. Am I looking too far into that?
No, I don't think so. I can feel that for sure. And I think it's not just Travis and I definitely he and I are like probably the 2 main players in hopefully going to the games and winning, but there are also a handful of other awesome guys here. I think mainly Jake Berman and Kyle Bernier. I think that group of 4 of us are going to come together as often as we can. And we're all really committed to being our best and wanting to see each other succeed as well. I think, we've always been friends, but also like Travis said something this morning and I almost feel like I shouldn't repeat it, but I think he was just more being playful than genuine. Yeah. He was like, when I was doing my first attempt, he was hoping that I was going to trip 30 more times so that I wouldn't beat his time. And there's always going to be that element of, hey, I want you to do well, but I want to do better than you.
Yeah.
I think that's always going to exist. But if somebody's going to do better than you, you want it to be the person that you're in there grinding with every day, that you believe in, that's going to support the organization that you're a part of as well. So I definitely do feel like a friendship connection with him. I want him to do well. I want us to do well together.
Max, you got your phone?
Yeah.
Open up the TTTIG and see what questions we got for the big man.
Am I the big man?
When did you decide to become a professional athlete and what sacrifices did you make? Do you make a decision to become a professional athlete, or do you get paid and then you are a professional athlete?
I think it's a little blend of both. I think it starts kind of happening and then you fall into it. And I'll be honest, it took years for me to feel comfortable using the term and the label professional athlete. That felt really weird, especially just the sport of CrossFit having been so new back in 2014, 15, 16. I don't think people regarded it as a professional sport. So I don't think people regarded me as a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Now it feels like that's different. I'm making a livelihood. It's what I do all day, every day. But I would say probably the first year that I qualified for the games, which was 2014, also happened to be the year that I graduated college with a master's from UM, that it was like, all right, I graduated school. I'm in a position where I'm now competing in this sport full time and at the highest level. I can fall into that rather than having to go and pursue a job now having graduated. I think if the timeline had been a little bit off and I didn't qualify for the games until 2015, when I graduated in 14, I might have had to go find a job.
Yeah.
But I got kind of lucky that they both happened the same year and I got to just fall into.
And did you get sponsors right away after that year? Like where you were making a little bit of money?
I think prior to 2014 games, I had a few low-level sponsors, but around then was when I started making some money from it. I think the end of 2014, I competed in Dubai, Wodapalooza, ECC, and made my first big like prize money payouts. And that was like, whew, all right, I can pay off my school loans. I can pay for my apartment. And that was kind of like, all right, this thing is the real deal.
Hold on, when you first got out of any debt you had, what was the first fun purchase you made? I mean, you weren't making like baller money, but what was the first thing where you're like, hey, here's some extra cash?
I don't remember specifically. I think upgrading from a Volkswagen Jetta, which is a great car, but I'd had it since my sophomore year of college. So the last like 11 years. And I was able to get myself a little Audi Q5. That was kind of cool. I felt like I had made it at that point.
Nice.
Awesome. All right. So the 2021 podium is you, Travis, and Chandler. Who do you want? He's assuming you're on top. Who do you want to take second and who do you want to take third?
That's really tough. I do want to backtrack though. I just remembered that I bought Joanne a pair of $1,000 shoes for Valentine's Day one year back in the day. Yeah, it was a ridiculous purchase.
Who makes $1,000 shoes?
Louboutin. Christian Louboutin are the red bottom heels.
Okay, does she still wear them?
She begged me not to get them, but I really wanted to do it. And she's never worn them. And it's not her fault. She literally told me not to get them. And there hasn't been an occasion that it's made sense to wear them. So they're sitting in her closet.
Are they like good resale value now?
I don't know. I don't know if they're like Jordans.
Are they, like maybe they're like a cool one that's hard to get now?
Yeah, perhaps. Anyway.
Can I have them?
Yeah, sure.
Chris will wear them.
Perfect.
Chris will film the next throwdown in them.
I would love that.
So Chandler or Travis?
That was that. Chandler or Travis. Oh man, that is a really difficult question. I do love both of those guys for sure.
All right, but here we go.
Come on.
No,
let the mean out.
I'm not going to do it.
You're going to tie for second?
I would be over the moon if either of them were on the podium with me.
All right, fine.
I'll leave it at that.
I hope that's the podium. That would be sick.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing. That was the three of us did the games part 1 together 6 months ago. Yeah. And that was really cool and special for me. Just that we all got to like be a team, kind of the same thing I was saying earlier. Like we all wanted to win, but we also wanted to see each other succeed.
Yeah. I'm going to skip some of these questions because I don't.
Yeah, don't do them all. Just find some good ones.
The juicy ones.
Thoughts on Ricky Garard's return?
Ooh, Shindoyo.
Don't care. I don't know. It'll maybe be interesting to see, but that's something. PEDs is something that for me, just like I automatically lose respect because I've been working the last 11 years fair and square, like busting my butt for hours.
What were you doing 12 years ago?
Not working very hard, like doing other stuff.
The way you said it, I was like, wait a minute.
No. I just mean I've been dedicated to.
11 years ago, I decided to go clean.
No, not what I mean. Clarifying. But yeah, it's just, that's frustrating to me. There was one athlete that got popped and said that was the only way that I would have been able to be competitive. And that was just such an excuse because I was like, that's not true because I was so weak and scrawny and I just worked really hard without any assistance and it is possible.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. If he comes back and he is super clean and he does well, then he's a good athlete and he deserves it. But if he comes back and he's not clean and he does well, then that's a little frustrating.
Pineapple on pizza or pineapple
Yes.
on cottage cheese?
What?
Either.
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
I'm
That's
not
from Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, you're fired.
I'm not a big cottage cheese fan. Although there was a period of time where I realized I was like, this isn't that much different from Greek yogurt. It's high in protein. So I was eating it, and pineapple would probably make it taste a little better because it's
Really?
kind of bland.
Oh, okay.
Probably.
Who's your favorite TTT coach? I can't be in it.
It's actually funny that you say that, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings because not kidding, not just saying this because we're on the podcast. I really do have tremendous respect for all of them. I think you guys have an awesome team. Everybody has their strengths, kind of like we were talking about with like that Miami elite athletes crew. The specialists bring different things to the table. We were in the sauna yesterday, Kyle, Bernier, myself, and Jacob Cantu, talking about who would you hire as your coach if your current coach wasn't that person. And I said, I'm not sure why, but the first two people that come to mind for me are Brandon or Adam. But everybody else.
Hold on, you got to pick one or the other.
My gut is telling me Brandon. But,
All right, you're fired, Max.
That's fine. He probably,
well, I did tell Adam.
Well, Brandon's
the other
writing
day,
some of the design too, so he's kind of
Yeah.
coaching you ish.
I told Adam the other day, Bryn's abs are pretty serious. And I asked her what I had to do to get them. And she said, be coached by Adam. And I was like, all right, I'm out. Peace, Max.
all right, I'll live.
All about the abs.
This one might be quick, but what is your relationship like with Fraser? Friends, frenemies?
Pretty neutral. I would love to be friends with him, but I think just like personality wise, we never super clicked. I think because we were always competitors, we rarely had moments where we were outside of a competition hanging out. And even when we did, it just like, I don't know. I've got the most respect in the world for him for sure. I did text him after he retired a little congratulations, and I never heard back. So whatever, no big deal.
All right. So not
Anyway.
friends. What tip do you have for those at home that are training for the Open?
That means like on lockdown?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
that's what
they're
I was
stuck
wondering.
at home. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the same tip that I put out there when I was adjusting to that myself, designate a space that is specific for you working out. Because we didn't really have that. I was kind of like makeshift, like, sometimes I'll work out here, but that's also where we do this and this. And so on the days that I didn't feel like working out, I was like, I'm not going to rearrange this space just to accommodate that. So I think if you have like your workout space ready to go, set a time that you're going to get out there and do the workout, that's helpful because it's going to be much harder to neglect a session when you've got all that stuff set up for you and like calling your name.
Yeah. All right. Final question.
Dun, dun, dun.
The evolution of your hair. Short, mini bun, dreads. What's next?
That is a
Full
wonderful
Jamaican?
question.
How about this? I want one thing I'm going to ask from you. You win the game.
Oh, you have a request.
You bick it.
Okay.
Full shave.
Well, that is
Wait, why you got to ruin this man's hair? Because you don't have none.
bringing me down with him. I think that is what you have to do to get rid of dreadlocks. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a bald to the head thing, but you have to cut them at the roots.
Oh, really? Because they've gotten
Yeah, I
too
mean, if I
clumped
like
together.
cut them in half, they're never gonna untangle. I think.
Yeah.
So eventually, that will be the case. I'll have to go really, really short when I do get rid of these. I think getting rid of these is going to be relatively soon. Joanne just doesn't really love the way I look with them, and that's the most important person that I'm trying to impress with my looks. So I asked her to give me a little leeway. Like I grew my hair out for 2 years just to have them. I didn't want to have them for a month and be done.
Your dad's got a full head of hair still, right?
Yeah. So I think I'll have hair for a while. I imagine that when I transition out of this, I said to Joanne that I'm going to do like the normal white boy haircut, which is kind of what Chris has, where it's short on the sides, kind of swoops over to one side. But I don't know. I don't know where else I could go.
All right. That's all I got. Those are all the questions that I thought we could answer here.
Thank everybody for watching and listening. I hope that was worth your time. Maybe we'll do it again someday. I don't know.
Maybe we'll do it again someday.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.